so excited. Hi, Rachel.
Hello, Natalie.
It's so wonderful having you here.
It's so great to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So now you're known as the Bakerita.
Yes.
And you've been creating these really amazing healthy recipes since you were a teenager. So what got you started in this?
Yeah, so my site actually started making all the things with regular flour and sugar.
Sure.
And as I was doing it, my sister and then my dad both went gluten-free. And I discovered I was having some issues with dairy. So eventually my site became recipes for all gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free baked goods.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because my mom, she's not celiac, but she does have a gluten allergy, and she can't have dairy. And so for so long, it was so hard to find tasty recipes that it still gave you that sweet fulfillment without messing up your stomach.
Exactly. The goal of my recipes is that it's always going to be as good as the original thing that you're imagining, because I don't want people to be like, oh, it's good for being gluten-free.
Right. Oh, that's
the worst. You want people to eat it and not know
this
that
is
it's
delicious,
gluten-free.
period.
Exactly.
All right, and so you have some exciting news.
Yes.
You have a cookbook, the Bakerita, coming out in 2020.
Yes, it's coming out in March of 2020. It's going to be over 100 recipes that are all gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free.
Okay, well, I have to buy it for my mom,
yes,
obviously.
Yes.
This is amazing.
It'll
Congratulations.
Be a great gift. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, so the September ingredient of the month in our community forum is sweet potatoes. And Rachel here was kind enough to rework one of her existing recipes to include sweet potato. So I want to get down to the good stuff.
Oh, yes.
Let's get baking.
Yes.
What are we doing here?
Okay,
I'm so excited.
Yes, we're going to be making these chocolate chunk sweet potato blondies. They are so good, and I'm excited that we had to work with sweet potato this month because it's such a good replacement for pumpkin.
Ooh, yes.
And it adds a little bit of extra sweetness, so you don't have to use as much sugar, which is awesome, and it's so delicious, and it has sort of those pumpkin flavors, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what's first?
Yeah, so let's get going. Okay, so we're gonna start with our wet ingredients. So if you wouldn't mind handing me the almond butter and one of these spatulas.
One of these guys?
Yeah, that's perfect. And we can scrape that in there.
And then we are gonna put this recipe on the community forum so everyone gets to check it out and try it for themselves.
And then we're also gonna add to this bowl the coconut oil that's on the back.
This guy right here?
Exactly.
Okay, do we just pour this whole thing in?
Yeah.
Pre-measured, ready to go.
Yep.
Ooh.
That's
all right. So we've got almond butter and coconut oil.
Yes, we have half a cup of almond butter, quarter cup of coconut oil. And then we're gonna add in the coconut sugar right there.
Is this guy?
Yep.
Perfect. Ooh, coconut sugar.
Yes, it's one of my favorites. It's a lower glycemic sweetener.
Amazing.
And it's really delicious. It adds a sort of caramely flavor to things.
Oh, I love caramely.
It's really yummy.
So
we're just gonna dump that right in there.
Okay.
And then we're gonna whisk it all together. So if you wanna go ahead and whisk it up.
I don't know that I trust my whisking. It's like this kind of a motion, right?
Yeah, really perfect. We just want to get it all combined until it's nice and smooth.
You can see it starts to look caramely.
Yeah, it starts to come together in sort of a smooth kind of paste.
Yum!
It's so good.
I'm excited already. It doesn't take a lot for me to get. Food is my happy place.
Right.
And I have a massive sweet tooth. So I think something like this is also so important for me because I'm not supposed to have a lot of sugar. I'm on like a low inflammatory diet. And having those replacements is amazing. All right, how did I do?
Perfect, looks great. So next we're gonna add our ingredient of the month, the sweet potato.
Sweet potato.
So I prepped this ahead of time and I used a regular sweet potato and I just peeled it, chopped it into little cubes, and I microwaved it to steam it and soften it. You could also steam it over boiling water if you prefer, and then just blend it up. Or if you want to do the treater version, you can get a can of sweet potato. It's usually next to the pumpkin. It can be hard to find. It's not with the rest of the canned food. So it's usually in the baking aisle next to the canned pumpkin.
Sweet potato.
So those are your options. If you want to be a little more labor intensive or if you want to do the shortcut.
Love it.
So we're just going to add that right in there.
Should I take
we can scrape this in. And then if you want to dump in that vanilla too in that little brown bowl.
I love me some vanilla.
Yes.
All right.
And this recipe is vegan also. And the sweet potato works really nicely as a way to replace the eggs and act as a binder.
A binding agent. Wow.
And
look at you.
Put that over there.
All right.
And then we'll just whisk that up.
I love vanilla so much.
Me too. It smells so good.
Oh my God. I wish, I keep mentioning this somehow on our shows that I wish we had invented smell-o-vision already.
Yes,
like how has this not happened yet?
I know.
Because I want to
everyone could smell this.
I'm starting to get that almond butter.
Yeah, right? It smells so good. And you can use any other nut butter that you prefer to instead of the almond butter. Like cashew butter works well. I just find almond butter to be the most prevalent. It's pretty easy to find. I just wouldn't recommend peanut butter because I don't think the flavors would go great.
And there's also there's a lot of peanut allergies.
Yeah,
and all
exactly.
Those sorts of things
so
happening.
we'd rather avoid that.
Yes.
And then now we just have our dry ingredients.
Okay.
Super quick and easy to put together.
All
so
right.
we're gonna add our almond flour right here. You can just dump that in.
Ba-bam.
And then we have our pumpkin pie spice back here.
Ooh.
And I like using pumpkin pie spice because you have to measure less things. And it smells so good. But
where do you get this from?
Most grocery stores have it. This one is from Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
This time of year, you can usually find it at most places. You can also just measure out some cinnamon and nutmeg.
I can smell the cinnamon in there.
So it's just a combination of warm spices. But if you don't want to go buy the pumpkin spice mix,
sure.
you can use the spices that you
Trader
have on
Joe's
hand.
literally has pumpkin everything during
Yep,
this time of year, so that's a great place to go find it.
Totally. And then
right.
we're going to add in our baking soda and our salt.
Baking soda.
Yep.
And just a really tiny amount of salt.
A little bit of salt, just a pinch, essentially. Get that in there. A little stuff.
You can do it. Oh, no, there we go.
Perfect. All right, and then I usually like switching from the whisk to like a spatula like this to stir in the dry ingredients. It's a little less messy.
We have some comments coming in.
Oh yeah.
So Tanisha Larson says, "Well, I just found my daughter and my treat for the weekend."
Oh yes.
If you guys make this, please send us photos.
Oh,
let us know what you think. Amanda Liao says, "Who would have known you can make brownies with sweet potatoes?"
Right.
And people are loving that this is like a great fall dessert option.
Totally.
So good.
It's so fun. I've been making these. I made these a couple times this week, and everyone in my family and friends have been obsessed with them, and everyone's so surprised that they have sweet potato.
I know.
You would never guess.
Sneak it in there.
Right? Okay, so our batter's ready, and now we're moving on to chocolate, which is my favorite part.
Which is also my favorite part.
Yeah,
You
so
speak
let's
to my
grab
soul.
that
All right,
big...
I'm not going to move this together because I know myself.
Good idea, because we dropped that
feels like a
earlier.
bad idea.
All right. I'm going to put this on my scale.
Okay.
We're going to weigh out the amount of chocolate that we're going to be using.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just have this prepped
So that's
over
why
here.
it's not cut yet. We're weighing it out individually.
Exactly. So
got it.
You can totally use chocolate chips if you prefer. I prefer to use chocolate chunks because they don't have any waxes added to them. A lot of times chocolate chips will have stabilizing waxes that keep that chip shape, but it also prevents them from melting into like gooey pockets, and that's always my favorite part of anything with chocolate in it.
I love a gooey pocket.
Exactly.
You speak to my soul, girl.
So we are just gonna chop this up.
This is a thick block of chocolate.
Big block of chocolate.
Yum. Oh my God. And is this like dark chocolate? What percentage?
I like using dark chocolate. I believe this is like 72%.
So it's a high dark
around
chocolate.
there. Yeah. If you prefer a lighter chocolate, that totally works too.
Right.
If you want to go darker, that also works.
Personal preference.
Usually, the darker the chocolate, the meltier it gets.
Oh.
So sometimes if you go too high, like over 80, it can just like be
Just
kind
like
of a
runny?
mess. Yeah.
It becomes like a lava cake by mistake? Okay.
Exactly. So I usually prefer to do somewhere between like 60 and 72%.
Okay. I love chocolate so much.
It's the best ingredient ever.
Oh.
So I just kind of roughly chop it like that, and it has big chunks and it has shards, and it will.
Which is the fun part, because then you never know what you're going to get with each
You get like
bite.
a little shards of chocolate in every bite, and then you'll get a big chunk. So
Yum.
let's just move
God.
this over here.
Oh my God, I'm
carefully.
so excited. Don't worry, any piece left behind will get eaten by me.
And then we're gonna go for about half a cup, which is 3 ounces. So I'm just weighing
I'm assuming
this out.
you know. Oh, I was gonna say I don't know how to eyeball that.
Yeah.
But, so Stacey Ann Ratliff asked what kind of chocolate do you use? Does it have sugar? So we're using that 72%
Yes.
dark
So
chocolate.
this one that we're using right now does have sugar, but there are brands that don't have sugar. They're either sweetened with stevia if you want something that's completely sugar-free. And then there's also some companies that will make coconut sugar sweetened chocolate. So the kind of sugar that we used before, which is an unrefined sugar. So
amazing.
A lot of times that's what I'll use at home while I'm baking is the coconut sugar sweetened chocolate.
So totally customizable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shelley Forsberg says, I need to make those blondies today. It's raining here, and those sound perfect.
Perfect rainy weather treat.
I mean, this really is the perfect rainy.
Yep.
So we're going to post this again. We'll post the recipe in the community so everyone can make it with us. We're getting a lot of yums coming in.
Good. My favorite word.
We have a great tip on the chocolate. Thank you.
Yes.
And Carol says vegan. Yeah, gonna make it this weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, if you would hand me that spoon, and we'll just stir this chocolate in. And
That's fine. Oh my God, that's good
Hard
chocolate.
to beat dark
That's
chocolate.
good chocolate.
And there we have the batter all mixed together. So it's pretty thick. It's almost like a cookie dough.
Yeah.
You might even be able to make them as cookies. I haven't tried that yet, but it would probably work.
Ooh. All right. So are we done with the chocolate?
Yes, we're done with the chocolate. And now we're just going to line this pan. And I have a little parchment paper trick that makes lining the pan way easier.
Okay.
So we just need one sheet of this.
We came prepared.
Yes. And if you wouldn't mind handing me those scissors
Surely.
over there also.
I'm a great assistant.
So we're using a square pan today, so I'm gonna cut the parchment paper into a square. If you wanted to double the recipe and make a bigger batch, you could also use like a standard 9x13 pan and use the whole sheet of parchment paper, and this little trick to line it works for that too, and you would just leave the parchment sheet as size. So I just cut it like that to be the shape of the pan, and then we're just gonna go around to each of these corners and cut in about, I don't know, 6 inches or so.
I am fascinated right now. I've never seen this before.
It makes it so much easier to line. You don't get like those weird crinkly edges, and it helps pull it out at the end way easier. So you'll see how after making these slits, it will like nestle into the pan.
So you do every corner?
Yes, so we do every corner, and then the corners will we'll use this and tuck it into the pan, and the corners kind of fold in over each other.
Oh my God.
So it's perfectly lined.
Rachel.
So slipping out a little bit on the bottom, but this is like my favorite parchment paper trick.
No, that's brilliant, because then you can literally just pick.
Exactly. You just pull out the corners, and that's all. So
this is why you do this, and I don't, and this is why I'm learning.
Many years of being frustrated with lining pans, and I finally
You get
figured that
inventive.
out. Yep. So we're just gonna grease this so we don't have any.
And so why do we still grease it with the parchment paper so it doesn't stick to the paper?
You don't have to.
Okay.
I just find it a little bit easier to remove. I forgot one of the times testing this recipe, and it wasn't that big of a deal, but sometimes the chocolate can stick to the bottom after it's baked.
Got it. And what kind of spray did we use to prep?
This is avocado oil spray.
Okay.
Usually my favorite is avocado oil or coconut oil. Are both pretty good. Just don't use like a baking spray, because a lot of times those have flour added. So if you're trying to avoid gluten,
Really?
Yeah. A lot of times it's like a mix of oil and flour, because a lot of bakers will sort of use that mix. They'll make it themselves and wipe it on the pan, because the flour helps it release. But I avoid the prepared sprays like that, because a lot of times people would not realize that that's a place where gluten could be found.
I
like,
never would have thought of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
All right, and then last but not least, we're just gonna put this batter in here.
Oh my God, it smells so good. So good. And so
Awesome.
what temperature have we preheated the oven to at this point?
350.
350.
Pretty standard.
And how long do these take to make?
These take about 20 minutes to bake,
Easy.
and they're all good, yeah.
Super easy. And oh my God, they look good. I love the different chunk sizes.
Yes.
It's also really visually appealing to me.
Totally. And if you want to add even more chocolate, or just for looks, you can sprinkle a little extra chocolate on top to get those big chunks. And it kind of seems like it's a thin amount of batter in the pan, but because we added that baking soda, they'll rise once they're being baked.
And no one would ever know that there's sweet potato in here.
Right? I know. It's magic.
It really is.
You get lots of extra vitamins and nutrients from the sweet potato, so it's perfect.
But this is how, you're like, kids, come have a blondie, and you're like, I'm secretly feeding them sweet potato.
Exactly.
I've done it.
It's the best thing. All right, and then all we have from here is to put these into the oven. So. The art of TV magic, we already have one ready to go.
TV, I love it. Oh, yes, I'm so excited.
So grab this out of here.
Yay.
Oh. So good.
Look at that.
And you can see, right, so good.
God.
And you can see that with the parchment paper, you can just lift it out.
Right up.
Yep.
I mean, look at that. Look
and those chocolate chunks. I garnished with some of the bigger chocolate chunks, and it just like makes it feel so decadent.
And now, do I get to eat one?
Yes, absolutely. That's the whole point, right?
Question.
If we want, we can cut some of these fresh.
Yes, please.
All right.
Because I did promise Cora.
Oh yes, we have to bring some back.
That I would bring some back for her.
So the parchment paper makes it super easy to just lift it out. And then you also have a pretty much clean pan, which
right,
is
you just
also really nice.
You don't have to scrub all of this out of there.
Exactly.
Ooh, and look at those edges.
So you just fold it down, and then we can grab this knife. And I like to cut it into pretty small squares because it can be pretty rich because of the chocolate.
Okay.
So my favorite way to cut to make sure you get pretty even squares is to start by cutting through the center, then just cut each of those in half.
Oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. Makes life way easier, and like you can see the chocolate because it's still melty. It like sticks to the knife. So good. And then I just flip it and do the same thing, go in the other direction.
Start in the center.
Yep.
That's brilliant. I've never started in the center ever, and it makes way more sense that way because all my rows wind up being completely uneven.
I know.
Look at.
And then tons of blondies ready to go.
Oh my God. Oh, all right. Let's plate some up.
Yes, absolutely.
First, before we even, I don't need a plate.
I think I need to have one with you.
Cheers.
Cheers.